What's up, everyone? Jeremy Majors here with Majors Academy Dog Training out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So if you got any questions about dog behavior, feel free to ask your boy. Today we are going to talk about the topic of today's podcast is modern day tree training and what it does to your dog. Is there pluses? Is there minuses? Is there positives? Is there negatives? We're going to kind of discuss all of it. Just my perspective, my opinion. I've been doing this for 17 years. It's pretty much the only job I've had. Hey, Pat, how are you? So if you guys hear an echo, let me know. I'm guessing last time that was kind of an issue. So let me know if you guys can hear me nice and clear. Give me a one in the chat or a like or something. Let me know that you're hearing me loud and clear. I would appreciate it. Okay, if you would like to join, then I'm going to post a link here if you would like to join the stream. Okay, Pat says we're all good to go. Cool. I'm going to copy the link. If anybody would like to chat one-on-one, it's kind of one-on-one and the audience, feel free to do so. Head over to our Facebook and or our YouTube. Click on the link that I just posted and check it out. So, a couple of announcements. I'm going to have putting on a seminar for Mitt Lieb. I am taking questions. I sure am. Hi, Alex. How are you? Yeah, I'm doing a seminar with Mitt Lieb, which is a German Shepherd rescue. We're trying to set that up at the moment. And as far as this weekend's pack walk goes, I don't know if we're going to have it because there might be a lot of snow that we may be getting. It's supposed to get 3 or 4 inches, which, ain't the worst, but I do have people coming from a long ways away. So weather depending, we will be having it, but it just depends again on what we're going to get weather-wise. So there we go. All right. Those of you who are watching and you got a drink, cheers to you. And happy Thursday. All right. So feel free to ask as many questions as you like. I'm going to be here until about 8 o'clock. We're going to talk about how your dog would end up or what the result would be. Because I see a lot of dogs that come to me that are treat trained, or positive only trained, or have been through a class. And I'm here to kind of make sure you know that you're going, hey, Lily, how are you? Make sure you're going to a good class, not just a class, because all puppy classes and dog classes are not created equal. And I don't want you to put your dog in an environment that would make his or her socialization worse, because the fact of the matter is a lot of these training classes, they're not helping. They're actually hurting. And I want to explain why. But you guys feel free to interrupt me with any questions that you have. If you have any of them, feel free to type them in. I appreciate that. Yeah, feel free to type in questions as whenever you want, and I'll just kind of stop talking about what I'm talking about, maybe. But we might as well get into it. So, all right. So, I would say I know how much training your dog has received, what kind of training your dog has received, where the training was coming from, just based on your dog's behavior, just me watching you and your dog. All right. Joey's walking great. I saw that. I saw you guys walking on that bridge, the pier in De Pere, and it had a whole bunch of fishermen were out there. and I forget where I was going. Oh, no, I wasn't going there. Not that time. Not at that time. Or maybe I was. I don't remember. Either way, I was in the pier. I forget what time of day it was, but I saw you and Joey walking. I said, first I saw him. I saw Joey, and I'm like, all right, that's a good looking doodle. And then I'm like, is that Mary Ellen? Sure is. So you guys are great. Keep up the good work with Joey. And if you never need anybody to watch him, you got to come straight to me. So, all right. Pat says, finally has a fenced in yard. There you go. He doesn't respond to my asking him to come inside, though. When we are inside, he does come when called, just not when he's outside. What's the best way to get him to recall outside? So basically, when he's outside, you call him, and if he doesn't come, be prepared to go get him. This is the most reliable way for your dog to take you seriously when you say come. You got to go get him. Again, and we're going to tie this into the topic, but oftentimes people want to persuade the dog coming in, and you're relying on the dog's appetite or lack of, or you're relying on the environment not being normal, or you're relying on the fact that it is normal, but oftentimes it's not. So what I'm saying is there are motivators for dogs to stay out, that are stronger than persuasion. So if your dog is not coming when called, you have to put some type of pressure on the dog to get the dog to realize that when you say something, you actually want the dog to take you into consideration and do what you ask them to do. So the most reliable way and the hardest way is where my focus on. I focus on, it's the hardest because it does require the most effort out of the owner, but it's the most reliable because the dog depends on your ability to be who the dog needs you to be and who you want to be, who everyone wants to be to their dog. Everyone wants to be believed. But oftentimes dogs don't believe you. So make him a believer, go get him. If he runs, you know, around and tries to avoid you, that's fine. Keep pursuing him. He will get tired. Stay consistent. You can even tell him to sit if he's doing the runaround. But either way, he needs to feel slightly uncomfortable because he gave you the middle finger anyway. So that's it in a nutshell. But okay, so let's kind of tackle the question of the day, right? Or the topic of the day. In my opinion, it's the equivalent. What treat training does is the equivalent of attention deficit disorder. You're going to create. Okay, I got a question coming in. I'll come back to that though. We have all hour for the topic, but I want to make sure I get everybody's question. Okay, excuse me. Give your thoughts around neutering male dogs at what age if the dog is growing aggressive. So I would say in general, my opinion would be not to neuter your dog at all. But if you are truly if you truly want to do so, then you have to at least wait a year and a half to 2 years. And that's only because that has nothing to do with aggression, that has nothing to do with marking, that has nothing to do with him being just a jerk. It has everything to do with their overall bone structure maturity, their overall physical maturity. I think that they need those reproductive organs to close their growth plates, and um, I, it's not necessarily obvious that they stay immature if you decide to take them too soon. I was just talking on the phone with a woman who has a French bulldog and neutered at 7 months, and uh, she had mentioned that she had a dog before that. That now the dog is a year and a half, but she had mentioned she had a dog before that that kept the reproductive organs and was much more mature, like like stockier, more bone, more muscle maturity. So just for the simple fact of that, I think that if they're not done growing, so to speak, then I think that that needs to stay just from there, and then you can start talking about, like, okay, will his aggression slow down? Mm, not enough to where I think it'd be worth it. Will the marking slow down? Yeah. Um, but so in my opinion, yeah, I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if the risk is worth the reward. I do think that to a certain degree, there are dogs who don't mature mentally if they don't have that long enough. So, um, Lindsay says no. Yeah, breeder just commented and said heck no. So, um, yeah, that's just kind of my there's tons of studies that you can reference that'll kind of show you not to do that. Rescues are notorious for doing so right away, um, which is maybe part of a problem, but we'll see. So yeah, those are my thoughts. All right. All right. Those of you who just joined in on Facebook, you guys feel free to ask as many questions as you like. I am going to be here until 8 o'clock. And like I say, no question is a dumb question. And your question will be helping out people who will come across this today, tomorrow, next year. These things are permanent. So you'll be helping out if you ask some questions. Okay. So back to the topic. All right. So I really want to concentrate on, like, what I see as soon as a dog gets out of the car. It's not reliable because it just doesn't connect the human with the dog. That training, there's no connection there. The dog is solely working based on his appetite. And so you're kind of just like superficially working the dog based on their appetite. Some dogs don't have appetites. Some dogs don't have a motivator where you can kind of make them do weird stuff. So you can make them do weird stuff with treats based on their appetite. But you can't, but most people they want their dog not to do something. So how you going to uh, and these positive only trainers will say you give a dog a treat after they stopped doing what you don't want them to do. Again, appetite driven. If a dog's barking out the window, you wait until they've stopped, and then you give them the treat. Let's talk about that for a second. Dog is barking. You wait until they stop, then give them a treat. So now the dog has got to make a choice, and it's appetite dependent. The dog says, I want to be territorial more so than I'm hungry. Or the dog says, I'm hungry more so than more my hunger motivation is stronger than my territorial motivation because they're barking because they're territorial. So, so the dog has mm, the options are his, and it has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with wanting to work for you. You take the dog, you take the human relationship basically out of it. It's non-existent. So there's no there's no thinking involved at all in the dog. Dog can go, I want to bark my damn head off and I want to get fed. I can work both of those. No problem. This is kind of a good deal, actually. I can do what I want at the window. And if I stop for a second, I can eat. So, what's the motivator for the dog to actually behave then? I mean, do you not tell the dog no? So, again, it's just a superficial way of training your dog. Um, but what I see when people come to me is a dog that'll sit, they'll look at the owner, and then they'll get up again. They'll not they'll sit, they'll look, where's my treat? Ain't getting it. All right, I'm up. I'm out. Over and over and over again. They can't treat there's no way you can get duration, which means your dog sits there and stays calm without some sort of consequence or adversive no, so to speak, for lack of a better term. There's no way you can get your dog to say, okay, and choose that over all of the things he can so impulsively get into at their discretion. If I'm teaching a dog a down and we're doing just treat training, the treats again have got to be so powerful that when that person walking their dog walks by, or when that jogger runs by, or when the bicyclist rides by, um, the appetite has got to be so heavy that it won't do it. But it's still not learning. It's just choosing to to give into the appetite. It's not really that's not learning. It's just going around the issue. And the issue is, you know, trying to get your dog to realize that this behavior is not warranted because the world does not cater to your impulses and your uh, for lack of a better term, needs. So what we're trying to teach them is that this behavior is not necessary. We're not stopping at don't do this. I don't we're trying to get to you don't have to do this because these things are going to happen anyway. Whether you like it or not, let me get you to a point where you can learn that the things that are going to happen and there's no harm that's going to happen to you. So there's no need to act this way. That's the point of training. Chill instead of react. But if you're presenting a dog, if you're treat training and you're saying, don't do this, well, no, you're not even saying that. You're saying, when you don't do what I don't want you to do, you get a treat. Can a dog really actually put that together? I mean, you guys tell me. Any of you guys, and I mean, it's kind of impossible, but I'll ask anyway. Any of you guys successfully trained a dog with treats? And I'm not saying you can't get a dog to not to not lunge because you have a treat in your hand. right? Let's say we're walking and a person walks by and your dog chooses to eat the treat as opposed to go after the person walking by. Let's say, for example, that is happening. That doesn't mean that the dog learned anything. It just means that you were successful at distracting him so that he couldn't concentrate on what he would otherwise lunge at. But you you have to put the right amount of no so that the dog can say, "All right, I am getting pressure from my owner, and I really want to do this, but I am getting pressure from my owner, so I'm going to avoid." And that's what a lot of dogs do. If you've got a dog who's really reactive, you guys who have trained with me know this. When I come over there, the dog will try and turn its back to the stimuli that made it reactive. It will turn its back, and that's avoidance. That's how you know that the dog is starting to respect what when you say no. And any reasonable person would agree that your dog, if you're going to say no to your dog, and you might as well get your dog to actually respect that. All right, Lily says, absolutely not. I have a high drive dog and human aggressive dog. I've spoken to you about him before, and I've never been able to help his reactivity or negative feelings towards people or other dogs with treats. In fact, what helped him was correcting his behavior. Um, yeah, man. I mean, um, like I say, you're not going to make that appetite sometimes. Well, not sometimes. Like, let's just say you have success with using their appetite to their advantage. There's no connection between you and that dog at that point. Dog, the dog doesn't learn that when you say something, it should actually respond. It it only responds because again, it really likes the treats and it wants to, but it's not necessarily learning anything. So I'll kind of tell you again, like dogs that come to me, and I know that they're treat trained because again, the owner puts them in a sit. The dog looks for the treat, and it takes about 5 seconds for the dog to say, "You ain't got it. I ain't doing it." Here's the other thing. Before I dive into it too much, but like here's the other thing. There, almost not almost everybody who comes and trains with me first time, they put their dog in the sit and they say good boy right away. They say good boy right away. And then dog gets up again. And they say, no, sit, 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 sit. Then the dog sits. Then they say, good boy. Then dog looks, 5 seconds, I'm out. Then we do it again and again and again and again and again and again. That's what treat training really promotes. Just because it's so on to the next thing. Sit, treat, down, treat. Do this, treat, blah, 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 treat, 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 treat. Um, yeah, there's no connection. There's no real dialogue between you and the dog. Let the dog's ability to let their stubbornness come out. That's what's really got to happen. You got to address the dog's stubbornness. You can't with treats because treats bring out a pushy dog too. Treats promote pushy behavior. When's my next one? When's my next one? They'll be looking at you. I want another one. I want another one. I want another one. And y'all know that I don't, my training is there's no pushiness. Okay. So there is a difference though when treats are appropriate. There are certain circumstances. The only real place, there's like two places that I use treats. The come command, when you're off leash, anything to promote your dog to come, excuse me, anything to promote your dog to come to you after they've refused to do it and actually do it because of you, then you can kind of give them a treat. But it's still not as reliable, or doesn't make it more reliable than not having treats at all. It's just an added bonus because you want your dog to want to come to you. And I'm talking about off leash. I'm not talking about in the fence. So don't get that confused. There should be no treats when you want you get your dog coming in from being from gone going poop or potty outside. There should be no treats in that circumstance. You almost got to be really experienced to notice the difference of when to use treats or not. Because again, you give some dogs treats and they're like, when's my next one? When's my next one? I don't even want that state of mind. I'm teaching calmness. I'm teaching compliance. I'm teaching cool, calm, and collected. I'm teaching relaxed, like, look at my eyes, just relaxed eyes, not this. I don't want that. That's like a one step close to just being unhinged. So, yeah. All right, we got a question coming in. Okay, my dog is a digger. How do I get him to stop digging? Well, hold on, let me show that. Well, there's a couple of things. Why does he dig? Well, they dig because they're young. They dig because they're bored. So, evaluate your exercise, evaluate your energy level, your dog's energy level. Give them another outlet of exercise. Start there. Um, and again, if he's just spending too much time outside alone, that could be a reason as well. But more so than that, you can also tell him no for digging when you got it when you catch him in the act of doing it, and that level of correction will depend on his temperament. Um, so catch him in the act, but first and foremost, make sure he's exercised, and make sure he's not spending too much time outside. I'm hoping he ain't digging now because, well, he probably can't if you're in Wisconsin. Ground's maybe still a little too hard, or if it's muddy, yeah, that's going to be tough to deal with. So, um, yeah, those are my thoughts. All right. I appreciate your question. Feel free to ask another. Those of you who just joined in, please feel free to ask any question that you like, as many questions as you like. No question is a dumb question. And again, know that your question will be helping out people who will come across this and have the same question as you, or the same challenges as you. Okay, so how do you get a puppy to listen? Uh, how do I get a puppy to listen? Can you tell me how old the puppy is? Brenda said, no, he's digging now, and we live in Wisconsin. Oh, no. So he might be a muddy mess. Well, catch him in the act, man, and really surprise him. Be like, you know, give him a good surprise. Whatever his name is, Brody, no, or something like that. Let him feel your pressure. And um, it may be a puppy thing that he'll grow out of, but yeah. Okay. Um, Joe says Brody's getting ready for his board and train. We'll see you on Saturday. Yes, sir. Let's do this. Let's do this. Gracie says, how do you respond with your reactive dog when walking on leash and a dog comes charging at them off a leash? So 4 months, you're just gonna have to deal with it. I mean, you're really just gonna have to try and catch them in the act. I mean, 4 months is that's puppy crap. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to, on some level, deal with the digging, or be really there and catch them in the act to kind of curb that behavior. But it's tough for a puppy not to, man. It's just part of who they are. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. All right. How do I respond? I get my dog. I get in between the dog. I get in between my dog and the oncoming dog, and I will do what it takes to get the dog away. Protect your dog on leash by any means, because especially if we're going to go through training and we're going to establish that trust has got to be valued. That trust has got to be protected. And if we allow an off leash dog to come up to our dog and something happens, then the dog is like looking at you like, the fuck, what, I, you put me on leash. That means I can't do anything other than this. I can't go away. I'm in a corner. And you're letting strange dogs come up to me that I don't know. Dog's gonna look at you like, I gotta handle business myself. You're not. So there's a couple of different things that you can do, a couple of different tools that you can use, especially if you have that, reoccurring in your scenario, in your environment. What you can do is carry a doggy don't, and I'm going to put it in the chat so that some people get confused about what the name of it is, but it's just doggy don't. You look it up on Amazon. I think it's about $46, and it makes a sound and it goes eh. I actually got a video of it. So I've got a YouTube video explaining how to use it, when to use it, and exactly what to do. But it's pretty plain, it's pretty simple. You're going to have to use it when that dog is coming as a way to get the dog to go the other way. So no harm is done to you, your dog, or the dog coming up. Yeah. Shoo them away. Even if you have to use your foot. Anything's better than a vet visit or a hospitalization, because that's the reality that could happen, and it has happened. Owner gets bit the hell up, dog gets bit the hell up, and it's a lose-lose situation. It's a lose-lose-lose situation. Both dogs are hurt, owner is hurt, and then you lose trust in your dog, from your dog. I want my dogs to know that I can handle business. I can take control. As much as I can help it, I'm going to, because I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want my dog to get hurt. So the dog that's coming on, sorry, but I got to do this. I'm looking forward to working with you guys as well. It's going to be great. I love when my clients, former clients, current clients, coming up clients, I love when you guys are in the chat. It really shows that you're dedicated to the betterment of your dog. And y'all make sure you tune in the Thursdays that your dog is coming here too, because I'll give a live update on how they're doing. This is where I really give a good analysis of what I've seen so far. And most people are like, yeah, you know him, you're describing the hell out of him right now. So That's the thing that I love. That's why I only work with 3 dogs per month, because I really like getting to know the weird, quirky stuff about your dog. Not just who they are, but what do they do weird? I'm able to tell them what would take a while to know, if for anyone to know about your dog. You know what I mean? So you guys keep showing up. That makes me really happy. All right. Let's keep it moving. All right. Those of you who just joined in, feel free to ask as many questions as you like. We're here until 8 o'clock. We are talking about how treat training creates attention deficit disorder, because it's true. Them dogs don't know how to sit for 2 seconds, and or the long as long as it takes for them to realize that you ain't got no treat. And again, the biggest issue is there's no connection between owner and dog, and that is the most reliable way of training your dog, is the relationship that you can build with that dog. So that's where I concentrate on, and that's where I start. And anything else that I don't deem necessary, I throw out. And for the most part, dogs don't need positive reinforcement every single time they're told to do something. The moment they're told to do it, it's just not. This it's you're like really compromising. You're really undermining their intelligence. They're way smarter than that. They don't need to be. Hell, some dogs don't even respond when you do it. Some dogs don't even respond to being told good boy, or good girl. They're just like, "Oh, okay, whatever." They're like, goes in one ear and out the other, which is a disadvantage, because you should be able to when you tell your dog good boy, you should be able to your dog should be able to kind of feel good about that. And if not, then you may be using it too much, too often. Oh man, this is gonna make me cry if I have to read this shit. Okay. Jason says, "Hey Jeremy, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Gabe is a different dog. I appreciate it so much. Appreciate you guys, man." Whew. All right, I'm gonna tear up here. Hold on. Okay. If anybody deserves you guys oh god. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Whew. All right. Every now and then you come across, you know, you come across certain people who are I don't know, just love the hell out of their dog, man. And whew, it gets to me because most people would have thrown that dog to the wayside. Most people would have that dog would be dead if it wasn't for you guys. But there are some people that you come across when you work with dogs that really show, like, when they say they're dedicated and their actions speak that that especially because the dog is a tough dog. It's like, it's hard to describe, man. Whew. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna have to stop thinking about that. I'm gonna cry online. I don't cry either. Whew. Okay. Sorry about that. I appreciate you guys, man. This is what keeps me going. I appreciate you guys. All right. Abby says, "How do you build trust back with your dog if they did get attacked? Where they don't need to feel like they need to protect themselves anymore." Um, your everyday action is the fastest way to get your dog to realize what you say is for is is for their benefit. You have to be able to share real estate in their mind. You have to be able to mean something to them. And it starts with when there's nothing around, when it's just you and the dog, when it's just you and the family and the dog. Um, that's where the true magic happens because does the dog believe you? Does the dog listen to you often? Or does the dog listen to you when it wants? Does it have a choice not to listen to you? Um, because the more times the dog is or has to listen to you, the more likely it is to listen to you when it really counts, when you're trying to get that trust. So, um, that's more so what it's about. Um, when it's just you and the dog and you're laying on the couch and you're just relaxed as all hell, are you allowing your dog, are you giving in to excuses? You know your dog shouldn't be doing this, or you know in your heart you shouldn't be allowing your dog to do this, and you're too um, lazy to get up and address it. Sometimes you got to get up and address it because you're thinking that, well, you're not listening to me outside when I see a dog. You got to think like this is that scenario. Even though it's just me and you, I'm thinking worst case scenario when it's just me and you. I need you to listen to me when things are cool, calm, and collected, so that when things aren't, because you listen to me at a very high level in other places, there's a better chance. There's a good chance. There's a really good chance you'll listen to me when it really matters. So trust really is how consistent can you be with what you want your dog to do. That's where it starts. Who are you to your dog? A Pez dispenser? Or someone they can actually rely on? Most people want that in their partner. They don't want an inconsistent, non-trustworthy. They want someone who, when they say something, you would prefer them to do what they say they're going to do. And that's the same thing with dogs. Can they can they yeah, can they can they that trust starts with just simple things. Why should they listen to you? They'll test to see if you're worthy of their um they'll test to see if you're worthy of holding that leadership position. They'll test to see that. constantly. And that's everybody. That's just life. They'll test to see if you're worthy to follow. Because if you're not worthy enough to for them to follow you, they got to do what they got to do to survive, which means they're going to take the lead. But they're going to test you. That's relationships. And that's life. It's not fair. So you have to really see those positive only trainers are only focused on what things could be. And balanced trainers kind of focus on what things are, where we're at as the basis of their training. Where are we? Let's begin from there. Where positive only trainers say, no, we can do this. We want it to be this way. But in reality, they're not even taking into account the true nature of a dog. When dogs play with each other, when they play with you, they're seeing if you're worthy. They're testing whether or not you're worthy. That's the beauty of owning a dog. That's the thing that they help you realize. Hell, they give you self-worth. They almost reflect the real world. Are you worthy? Some people aren't. And they know it. And I know it. Leadership before friendship. What is and what you want it to be. Two different thought processes. That's why an outside perspective is really good. That's why people seek out therapy. An outside perspective says, this is what it is. Because some people can be stuck in what they want it to be. And that invites a lot of excuses as to why not to really address that's the stubbornness of their dog. There's a lot of just misinformation online. But we all have what it takes to be great leaders for our dogs. We all have what it takes instinctually. So, all right, you guys, we got about 10 minutes left. You guys, feel free to ask any questions that you like. I think I got one more question from Gracie, but feel free to ask as many questions as you like. And yeah, awesome. Oh man, that margarita is good, boy. All right. All right. I was walking Rocky on Sunday. Some birds landed on the ground on the right of me. He crossed in front of me and I fell. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. No broken bones, but a lot of bruises and swelling. Oh man, I'm so sorry. What in the world? Um, my nose and hand. What is the best way to handle a sudden crossover like this? What's the best way to prevent a crossover? So yeah, what we got to do with him is, boy, we got to stay on top of him so much more. What we can do is teach the dog to walk behind you. Um, and I'm talking about significantly behind you, um, to where, if he does that, he's not obviously going to be able then to trip you up. But what teaching him to walk behind you does is, it's tough enough on them to walk beside you mentally, but it's even tougher on them mentally to walk behind you, because it kind of messes with what they really want to do in uh overall. So what we have to do is tighten up the heel to the point where he, um, really knows that this is what he's doing, and there's pretty much nothing else that you can indulge in, um, so that he can help. It would help teach him that to control that impulse of, you know um, going after whatever's crosses his nose. So we got to teach him how to walk behind you. Bottom line. All right. All right, Pat. I appreciate the question. All right. Gracie says, any tips on how to prepare your dog for bringing a new human baby into the house? Great question. That'll probably be the last question because, there's a lot to unpack here about that. But yes, I'm going to give you some tips. So we briefly talked about it over the phone, but dog has got to become calm on command. Number one thing, period. Calm on command. This is how we're going to guarantee that your baby and that dog can start off on the right foot. Because what happens on a worst case scenario when a dog hears a baby crying, they immediately want to investigate and go in and sniff and that and whatever. Sometimes that can lead to a dog trying to control. If you have an overly controlling dog in your house, then please listen to what I'm about to say, because I don't like kids getting bit. There are more kids that get bit than ever before. Kids end up getting in the hospital. It's almost an epidemic today. So, people with kids and rambunctious dogs, I don't care if your dog's not human aggressive. I don't want your. I had a call today that, um, that the dog bit a child that wasn't theirs, but they had children similar age, and I said, you're really taking a risk. It's only a matter of time when your dog decides to bite your own damn children. The point of the matter is to teach your dog not to use its damn teeth. That's the point. Don't use your teeth. Because if you have a dog that's comfortable enough to do that to other children and or humans, then it's only a matter of time because the dog has the freedom of choice to make that game time decision. So don't act like you shouldn't be worried about a dog that hasn't bit someone that may bite, that just because it didn't bite your children and it bit someone else's child, that doesn't exclude the concern that you should have for your own children. That's too many variables to even think about. I don't care whose child it is. It shouldn't be using its teeth. If we're going to keep our dog alive, and if we're going to avoid having to take a child to a hospital, and if we're going to avoid having the possibility of losing a lot via legal system. All right, so here's some tips. Um, Dog's got to be calm on command. When a dog can, when a dog can be controlled, when a dog can rely on you to take control, man, that really puts the dog at ease. Like, oh, okay, well, cool. I'm cool chilling over here. If a dog can realize that, then man, the possibilities are endless in what you can get your dog to get along with, have a good relationship with. That includes other dogs, humans, babies, uh, cats, frogs, whatever. Because there's a certain uncertainty that over controlling dogs are driven by. And if they're used to handling their insecurities their way and not having anybody handle it or guide them through that, then it's you're playing with fire. There'd be no way I'd have a dog like that around my children. There'd be no way I'd have a dog that even jumps on people, much less bites, around my child. I wouldn't have a dog around my children that jump, that bark, that pull on leash, that just overall looks like he don't give a damn about what the owner says. There's no way I'm having that dog around my children. And if they do, I'm going to get ready to get that dog under control. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. So that's just me. But we'll teach. We'll definitely go over that. I don't necessarily go over how we get things done here because that's neither here nor there at this point. The training will address that, but um, we got to get your dog to take your word for it versus their own when they hear that screaming child. A lot of screaming things entice prey-driven dogs. If your dog has a prey drive, your dog is going to be drawn to things that are squealing, vulnerable, weak, young. That is nature. All other mammals in the kingdom want to eat small, vulnerable, uneducated beings. Eat them. There's a reason why they make chew toys with squeaky sounds in them and why dogs like it. It's mimicking a dying animal. So I want my dog to really get used to all of the things my child bring. Aside from crawling on them, I will never let my children do that to any dog because I don't even want them to think it's okay to do it. So what if your dog tolerates it? What if the neighbor's dog doesn't tolerate it? It's not. Some of y'all got to control your damn children, man. I'm just going to say that shit right now. Some of y'all out here just having children go up to any dog. Oh, yeah, it's okay. Child gets bit the hell up. So some of y'all got to get your daggum children under control. Wow. Crazy. What? And you know, the coward reason is because you don't want to become uncomfortable. You don't want to say put boundaries because you don't want to seem awkward. See, so those people aren't worthy of leader to be followed. They can't even handle the business. They don't. It's not even that they don't know, but their ego is so pronounced that you're not going to say, "Okay, no, this isn't a good situation. I'm going to remove my children, or I'm going to remove the dog." Especially if it's someone else's dog, right? But y'all should see your boy in action. I'm telling you, when I go to a house and I got to bring my kids because I know the possibility of dogs. Woo. Yeah, it may get awkward. It may get awkward. So, anyway, stand up for your dog, man. That's how you show your daggum dog that you're worthy of their leadership. Stand up for your dog, man, or stand up for your children too. But damn, control them, damn children. Don't let your children just run up to any dog. What? You're just going to assume that every dog is happy? That's super naive. Or you're going to take a chance on not getting uncomfortable and then your child get bit? That's cowardly. That's cowardly. So, all right, rant's over. Update on Chief. Doing better with techniques you gave me. He has a ways to go, but he's having more good days than bad days. Baby steps. I'll take it. Thank you for the private lesson and your advice. I really appreciate it. And thank you for allowing me to meet Chief and help you out with that. You know, Chief is a great dog, and I forget the other dog's name, but yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Feel free to schedule another private lesson if you like. All right, guys, I think I'm going to stop here, y'all. But hey, I appreciate you guys' question. I appreciate you guys' conversation. We'll be here next week on Thursday and with a new set of dogs. So y'all check in on that. But we'll be here. I appreciate all of you guys, and we'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, whatever it may be. Yeah, I appreciate all of you. Thank you. Good night.